Yeah, it's time for a cup of tech gumbo. Time to welcome in Haggai Davis. Appreciate you coming in this morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm great.
I mean, holiday, raining out. Thank you.
Oh, you made a pot of coffee for
I
me.
did. I did.
I've been enjoying this cup of coffee. I'll grab one on the way out.
I grabbed three. It's because, as discussed earlier, once I'm committed to a pot, I'm committed to the whole pot. We got some topics to cover this morning. This week was a milestone. I believe Monday actually was a milestone, if I'm not mistaken. The 50th anniversary of the first cell phone call.
Yes, it was. It was an engineer from Motorola who called his friend, who was an engineer at Bell Labs, to say, "Hey, I'm talking to you on a cell phone," and he was basically trash talking his buddy that at Bell Labs who didn't get their cell phone built as quickly as the ones from Motorola did.
So Martin Cooper's the guy's name,
Yeah.
and he's the guy we can all blame. Anytime you're standing in line somewhere and the person in front of you is not paying attention to what they're doing because they're talking on their cell phone. Anytime you have a distracted driver
Oh, yes.
talking on their cell phone.
Yes.
Martin Cooper, that's who you're looking for here. 50 years ago, he stood on the sidewalk on 6th Avenue in Manhattan. How dumb did he have to look to everybody else around who had no idea what he was doing?
Like he's got this big brick on the side of his head.
Yeah.
And he's talking into it.
Right. Like, how many people walk by? Well, this is 50 years ago. I got to make sure the timing's right. How many people walk by and like, this idiot thinks he's Maxwell Smart?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have been around to see that picture of everybody walking by going, oh, what are you doing?
What do you, we got a brick next to your head?
I mean,
What is he? Is that a shoe? What is he doing?
yeah, that was I just thought that was fascinating though that
It is 50 years, dude. That's a
50
long
years
time.
to of cell phone calls and having I worked for Cellular One in the late 80s and early 1990s and even back then 20 years after he made that phone call people are still not knowing what cell phones were it was so often to see how many people were getting their first cell phones in 1993.
Okay, so you were working in the business as I was in my, as I was growing up. It wasn't called a cell phone then. It was a car phone.
It was a car phone.
It was a car phone.
Because it was installed into the car. It was
Right.
the full 3-watt transceiver that was in the trunk, and you had your handset bolted down to the carpet on the floorboard, and you had the little pigtail antenna up on the back window.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So
And now these phones are 0.6 watts as opposed to the full 3-watt phones, but these are better because we have so many more towers.
while no, I'm sorry. Shoot. It just went to a pop-up ad. Darn it. Number one on the charts the night the lights went out in Georgia. The night the lights went out in Georgia was number one on the charts when the first cell phone conversation happened. By the way, the Four Tops were at number 4 with Ain't No Woman Like the One I Got. How about that?
Fascinating.
Yep. I just putting that as if I'm going to put something in recent historical perspective, I'm going to make the music.
73.
Yeah.
I guess I'm probably 4th grade.
Okay. All right. Number one in the box office, The Exorcist, followed by The Sting and American Graffiti.
Cool. Love those movies.
That's what was happening in America when the first cell phone call was made by some slap on 6th Avenue who says, Martin Cooper, that's his name. I'm calling you on a cell phone, but a real cell phone, a personal, handheld, portable cell phone.
Trash talking his buddy.
I mean, if you're starting off by, if the first cell phone call is trash talk, the industry is just, that's set the tone for the whole industry.
Yeah.
That set the tone for where we're at today. That's why we're on our iPhone 27 or wherever we're at.
Yes. The iPhone, pick a number.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we're actually on our way back to that now, though. Dumb phones are on the rise in the U.S. as Gen Z looks to limit screen time.
This fascinates me.
It encourages me.
Yes.
Yeah.
People are wanting to not have their phone do everything in the world. The thing that I'm curious though with these Gen Zs, if that's where they're going back to the minimal phone, not the dumb phone is a politically incorrect word, Brian.
Well, I don't want to offend the phone.
Exactly. So with all of the apps that we have now on phones, like you go check into hotels nowadays, you don't get a key anymore. You just get your phone walks up to the door and that lets you in kind of thing. Or your banking apps or
Wait, what? I haven't experienced this yet.
yes, that is the technology that's we talked about that on last fall on the show. But yes, you can hotels are now starting to use smartphone apps where you don't even go to the front desk to check in. When you show up on site at the hotel, it knows you're there. It automatically checks you in.
We're gonna pick up on this. Is this something we can see for the future, or is this a fleeting trend? Right now, though, we do have to take a quick break. Coming back after we check traffic, we'll check your money now, and we'll continue a cup of tech gumbo next on Talk 107.3. Sorry, I didn't even look at the clock. I do want to get to the extension that needs to be deleted.
Oh,
Because if I remember, um,
People on Facebook are talking about the first phones they got.
yeah, I had that little Nokia one.
We used to have like the ones with that had the radio, the walkie-talkie. Like you remember the cell phones that had like a walkie-talkie?
Don't.
yeah,
Oh.
push the talk button on the side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we always had those. Name a country older than the United States.
There is no country older than the United States. The oldest and greatest country on the planet.
Okay.
Just ask Trump.
Do I?
Just ask Trump.
I was asking for your Letterman. If you're not following Free Your Letterman on Twitter, you need to. That is trolling of a level. He's the goat of trolls. Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, I forgot that. Well, you're gonna have to come back.
Yeah, I'm doing traffic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jake Fraley's grandmother was at my mom's house. We moved mom's out. Jake, whatever.
Baseball player.
Jake Bartley.
Oh, Barty.
Barty, yeah. His mom's like,
Isn't Jake
I said,
Fraley
"I'm
playing with the
Hackman
Mariners?
Davis." She said, "Oh, that are you on the radio?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh, my grandson used to produce the show, and he said you were always so nice to him. He likes you a lot." It's like, "Oh, great."
The host, not so much.
Well, he's living in Pensacola now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for him. Time to head back to the Shaw Bills Tire Traffic Center for an unbelievably quick report. It looks like the accidents that we have reported on so far have been cleared. Very little volume on your roadways right now as it is a holiday. That being said, if you do have to hit the road, it's wet out there. Be careful. We'll have another report for you to lead off next hour. Right now, here's your money now at 6:50. Awesome. So, are the mics on? Hmm? Underrated usher. 52 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Cup of Tech Gumbo rolling right along as part of Mornings with Brian Haldane. Are dumb phones going to catch on? We're talking about during the last segment a little bit, and I'll stick with the term dumb phones because if we have smartphones, what's the opposite? I mean, it's a phone that makes phone calls and texts. You minimize, if not eliminate, your screen time. And it honestly, Haggai, if we all have a tablet as well, it feels redundant to have a tablet and a phone that both do the exact same thing. And if you could be intentional about, I'll save my screen time for my tablet, you're probably going to reduce your screen time by a lot.
Probably so.
So wouldn't this be good for all of us to embrace it, considering how widespread the rest of the technology is?
It just depends on how you're going to use the device. I mean, if you're away from your tablet and you need to check, your banking information, or you're trying to do anything that any one of the million of apps that are out there.
Okay, so banking information, how quickly it's become that we have to have that 24/7.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go so far as to say if you need to check your banking information, take out your checkbook that you recently balanced.
What's a checkbook?
Exactly. Sad.
Haven't written a check since 2016.
I wrote a check about 3 weeks ago, and it felt really uncomfortable.
And the reason I know it was 2016 because during COVID we were cleaning out one of the rooms in the house, and I found my checkbook. And the last check I'd written was to the church, and it was in February of 2016, I think. And
all right,
everything I do is online now.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
It is. I had to write a check to. We had a punch list out. We got a new sink, and wrote him a check, and I was like, just it feels awkward. Like, pay to the order of. What does that even mean? Pay to the order of. What kind of clunky speech is that? But think about it though. Okay, if you need your banking information, fantastic. You've got.
But
that
we
app.
were talking about the hotel application.
Yes, we're going to get back to that. If you need your banking information, you've got that app there. You can carry that with you all the time. That's fine. There's probably a few dozen apps that you honestly need on a regular basis. What you don't need is YouTube and Hulu and Netflix and
TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram and all of the other Twitters. And are you going to tell me that Gen Z is walking away from social media?
No, I don't. But if you can relegate it back to your tablet, then you've kept it away from.
But if your tablet is a Wi-Fi only device, and it's only going to be back at the house or in your apartment or whatever. So when you're away from your tablet, you're away from social media. I find it hard to believe that Gen Z would do that. I think it's great that it could happen that way.
Me too.
I just find it hard to believe that it's real.
I'm trying to talk this into existence. I would like to put it all away for a little while.
Put it out there in the universe. Maybe it'll happen, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
No, I'm not banking on it. It's
No.
not gonna. It's not. But think about the possibilities, though. If we could learn to separate want versus need, okay?
Absolutely.
Banking is something that you probably your banking app is something you probably don't need.
No. you don't.
99% of the time, but when you do, you really need it.
But
right?
the Venmos, the PayPals. Hey, I got to because nobody carries cash anymore.
Every app you've mentioned does not include screen time, like sitting there watching video.
True.
It's get
But
in,
if
get
you-
your
but
business done, and get out.
But if you have just the basic phone, you can't do. Here's the Venmo. I owe you $20 here. Boom, boom. Because nobody carries cash.
Okay, how much time does it take? Looks to none, and
but-
you put your phone back away. It's not like you're scrolling through saying, "Oh, let's see what."
But if you go, but if you go into the dumb phone, you can't do that anymore, though.
Yeah.
We have become so dependent upon these handheld devices because we interact with them for everything now. The millions and millions of applications that are out there that we depend upon because we can is what's going to really prevent the dumb phones from really, really taking off like that. I wish they could.
We got to get one more topic in here. We only got 2 minutes left.
Okay.
There is an extension, a browser extension that needs to be deleted. That's stealing Gmail messages, which I deleted 1,500 emails yesterday.
That felt good.
It did. Tell me all about it.
So whether you use Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or Firefox or whichever, you on a regular basis need to go check your extensions on your browser to see what is there, because a lot of times you can click on things and not know you've actually installed an extension. This one is, the name of it is AF.
Okay.
And it is a North Korean malware group that has put this out there. And yes, it is reading Gmail, it is stealing your emails, and it is grabbing information from your browser and your browsing history to know exactly what you're doing. So go look at your browser extensions, go to the settings button, whatever, and get into your extensions. If you see something that doesn't look right, if you installed an extension 7 years ago because you wanted to play a game and you don't feel like you don't play that game anymore, start deleting these things, because a lot of times these extensions hang around way too long and then somebody corrupts them and you doing nefarious things with them. So do yourself a favor, go to your browser, any one of the browsers you use, and clean out your extensions.
What else is on the show this week?
Oh, we're going to talk again more about artificial intelligence than ChatGPT. It's just kind of hard to stay away from that. We're going to talk about cybersecurity and electric vehicles and all kinds of topics and updates to keep you informed as to what's happening in the technology world.
There's a lot moving in the AI world, in ChatGPT right now, especially.
It's just becoming bigger and bigger. And you want to talk about the scariest animals out there?
Oh, yeah.
ChatGPT ranks up there pretty high right now.
Absolutely. He is Haggai Davis, host of Tech Gumbo. You get your first full serving of Tech Gumbo right here Saturday and Sunday at 4, and anywhere you get your podcasts on demand. We meet up every week for a couple of highlights of that show. Haggai, I always appreciate you coming in, brother.
Absolutely, Brian. Have a great Easter.
You do the same.